Today's guest is Quinten Kusheba, who made his Broadway debut as young Tommy in The Who's Tommy. We'll talk about how he got started moving to NYC, life backstage, and what it's really like to be a kid performing on Broadway. Plus, Quinten shares his favorite memories and advice for young performers. Let's get started. Hi, Quinten. Thank you so much for joining me as a performer today. Are you ready to go on a quest to answer some questions?
Yes.
Let's go. How'd you get into acting, and what inspired you to pursue it at such a young age?
I always sang around the house, so my parents took me to the YMCA to go audition for a show. And then when we moved to Virginia Beach, they took me to the Hurrah Players, and I saw The Little Mermaid, and I just really wanted to be up on that stage, and I loved it so much.
Mm-hmm. When did you first realize you wanted to perform on Broadway?
As soon as I knew what Broadway was, and that I could do what I love for a living.
Mm-hmm. You made your Broadway debut as young Tommy in Who's Tommy? What was your audition like?
I heard about the audition through my manager, and it was in New York City in January. And then rehearsal started like in the beginning of February, which is pretty quick. And so on Monday, we went for the first audition. And then afterwards, me and my mom went to go to John's Pizza. And while we were there, my manager was like trying to get in touch with my mom. And she was like not answering the phone because we were eating. And my manager was like, pick up the phone. And she told us that they wanted to see me back for the callback. And so Tuesday morning we went to the first callback, and then they were like, we want to see him back later that day. So we went to the movement callback, and then they texted my mom again, and they were like, we want to see him for the final callback. And then we stayed in the city for Thursday, and then we were driving home on Friday, and during the drive, my manager called us and it popped up on the screen and I was like, oh my gosh. And so my mom pulled over and then they told me that I booked it and I was like so happy. I was crying. It was the best moment of my life.
What was it like performing on a Broadway stage for the first time?
It was a dream come true, really. It was um like I never thought that that was ever going to happen. And so when it did, it was like really a pinch me kind of moment.
You had to move to NYC for this role. What was that like?
That was also a dream come true. It was very different from the beach down here, but the food was like 20 times better, and that was definitely my favorite part. But my parents and my family are all from up there, so they knew the subways, everything, and that was really my favorite part, just living in New York City.
Mm-hmm. Can you describe a typical day in your life while performing on Broadway?
So usually I would do some school in the morning, and then go explore the city a little bit. Usually we would go to a park or a museum or something. And then on a two-show day, I would go to the first show. And then after that, um, usually, sometimes, I would go to the park with some other Broadway kids like you, or I would have a vocal lesson or something. And then I went to the night show, and then I went back to my apartment.
How was adjusting back to middle school after being on Broadway?
Um, it's actually been pretty good. And it's really funny because no one really knows that I was on Broadway or even what Broadway is.
Yeah, I can relate. I can relate to that. Do you have a favorite memory from performing?
Um, I think opening night because the energy was really, really amazing and everyone had friends. And so everyone just loved the show. And I think it was my favorite performance ever.
Mhm. Do you have any backstage rituals that you did before a performance?
We had like a ton of secret handshakes, and me and Cece would dance to all the songs, and we made up all these dances, and it was super fun. And so one day during tech, I found this paper clip on the floor and I put it in my pocket of my suit. And I was like, oh, I'll probably just throw this out later. But then it just became like my lucky paper clip, and I would rub it before every performance. And I still have it today.
That's really special. What's something about Broadway life that most people don't know?
I think a lot of people don't know that everyone in different shows are all friends. Like me and you, even though we weren't in the same show, we would still go and meet up in between shows, and that was really fun. And I miss that a lot.
Hmm. Yeah, me too. What have you learned from your Broadway experience that you'll carry with you forever?
I think just to be a really kind person, and talent can only take you so far. If you're a rude, nasty person that people don't like to work with, then you're not going to book a lot of things. But if you're just really kind, then people are going to really like you and they're going to want to work with you.
Mm. What is a challenging part about being a child actor?
I think balancing all the auditions and lessons and stuff with school and friends, because I think it's important to still be a kid outside of Broadway life.
Hmm. Yeah, it's really hard. Many celebrities came to see Who's Tommy. Who is your favorite celebrity that you met?
I think Leah Michelle, because I love her Funny Girl and Glee, and she is such an amazing singer. And she was actually really nice and friendly to the whole cast.
Hmm. Do you do anything to improve your acting singing skills?
Yes, I am always taking lessons with my amazing coaches like once a week, and then more if I have an audition.
Hmm. You have worked and met some incredible actors. What have you learned from them?
I think again, just to be super duper kind, and all of the amazing actors that I have worked with are always the nicest people you're ever going to meet.
Mhm. Do you have a role model?
Um, I think all of the Tommy cast, but especially Danny Quadrino. He is an amazing triple threat, and after Tommy, his career kind of just like went up. He's insane, and he was in Jersey Boys, and now he is in Wicked as Bach. So yeah, he's amazing.
How do you prepare for an audition?
Um, so first I usually read the side or the material multiple times, and then I'll usually have a lesson to a coach that will go over that for me and help me with it. And then like a day later, I'll tape it and then I'll send it to my manager, and she'll usually pick one out of like three, and then yeah, we send it in.
Hmm. Do you have a favorite Broadway show?
That's a really hard one, but I think School of Rock is my favorite right now anyway. It changes a lot, but the music and the um, the choreography and the tech and everything about that show is just amazing.
Mm. You have a dream role?
That is also a hard one. I'm gonna have to go with Johnny Cade in The Outsiders, but for a kid role, I also think Oliver would be really cool.
Mhm. Any advice for other kids looking to perform professionally?
Just to keep working and don't assume that you're not the right fit for the role because you never really know what they're looking for.
Mhm. Where can we follow your acting journey?
You can follow me on Instagram at Quinten's Chronicles.
Thank you so much for joining Dreams Performing today, Quinten. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Bye!
Thank you for tuning in to this week's episode of Dreams Performing. If you enjoyed the conversation, don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe. It really helps us grow. A huge thank you to the Faded Hours for our theme song. We'll be back next week with more inspiring conversations. See you then. Keep dreaming big, my friends.